right, Brooks, thank you. Great to have you with us here on the postgame. Bob Lorenz and Frank Isola with you. So this was an escape room situation in a way down in Miami. Looked like the Nets were making too many turnovers, too many mistakes late in the game, but they come away with a 102-101 win.
I mean, let's think about this. You have Kevin Durant go out late in the third quarter, and of course now the Nets just going to hope for the best and hope that it's not a serious injury. You're down 9 in the fourth quarter without your best player, and the offense comes to life. They hold Miami to only 11 points in the last 9 minutes. And then you had Kyrie Irving taking an early shot, and then Royce O'Neal with the putback. They showed it just a couple of moments ago when he had a similar play against Portland. That is a great road win against a very good Miami team. And that last play was wild because you had Tyler Hero slipping, appeared to injure himself. You hope that he's okay. And then you definitely had contact at the end there. Miami will have a legitimate beat, but there was a play moments earlier where Royce O'Neal went to the glass on a putback after Kyrie had missed a shot. It looked like he got shoved in the back, no call, and Jimmy Butler scored at the other end. So a lot of times that stuff evens out. I know the Miami Heat are going to focus on that last shot, but all in all, that is a great win.
I mean, sometimes you talk about too many whistles. In the end there probably could have been whistles when there weren't. So it worked out in the Nets' favor.
Absolutely. And Jimmy Butler does the right thing there. He goes to the basket, and who's the guy meeting him at the rim? It's Royce O'Neal, who attacks the basket. He did it at one end with a putback to give the Nets the lead for good. And then, of course, at this end where he collides, where he and Jimmy Butler meet at the rim. I think most times you're going to see that called. I think for the Nets, they were fortunate that it wasn't. But again, just moments earlier, a similar play happened. Royce O'Neal, it looked like he got shoved in the back as he went to crash the boards on a miss by Kyrie Irving. No call was made. Long outlet pass to Jimmy Butler, who got a layup that put Miami ahead.
All right, let's take a look at those two key plays down the stretch. We're talking seconds left in this game. Nets down 101-100. You see the clock ticking to about under 10, and Kyrie takes a quick shot.
All right, so on the two previous possessions, the Nets turned it over. I think Kyrie Irving felt, it's not a great shot. I think that he felt, with Jimmy Butler on me, this might be the best look I'm going to get. That's awfully deep, and it's early. Luckily for the Nets, it bounces right into the hands of Royce O'Neal, has a little putback there, but still plenty of time for Miami, which used its last timeout on the inbound. And then, of course, they end up getting the ball to Jimmy Butler. But a great play by Royce O'Neal.
So it's 102-100 Brooklyn after that. Then here's the final play of the game as Hero goes down.
Hero's down, and then Royce O'Neal, with the help defense, Jimmy Butler goes up, ends up on his back. It was, I'll tell you what, all game long, it was very physical. They showed the clip of Kevin Durant and Kyle Lowry bumping into each other, and nothing was called there. Here you have, easily could be a foul call right there.
He completely altered the path and to the basket that Butler was taking.
Absolutely. But late, you know, you see this a lot where the referees don't want to be the ones that are going to decide it. And when the game ended, Eric Spoelstra, it was such a wild scene. You have Tyler Hero being assisted by trainers limping off the court. You have Eric Spoelstra, the head coach of the Miami Heat, standing at mid-court, kind of yelling at the refs, looking up at the scoreboard, saying, how could you miss it? It happens a lot. But I also think for the Brooklyn Nets, there were calls that didn't go their way. That's the biggest one of the game right there. And you know what? Over the course of a season, it tends to even out.
All right, let's get to the hold your breath moment. That came near the end of the third quarter as Kevin Durant went down. He'd got knocked around a little bit. Physical game for him. They got some good defense on him, but then he'll go down with a right knee injury, and this is KD at the one end. And again, a lot of body contact.
Yeah, there he runs into Kyle Lowry, who's going to take a charge all the time. That was called against Kevin Durant. You see Kyle Lowry standing outside of the restricted area. He stayed in the game, and this is the one that really hurts because it's Jimmy Butler falling back into Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant stayed in the game for 2 possessions, and then when he tried to close out on Tyler Hero hitting a 3, he motioned to the net bench to take him out of the game. And let's remember, it was January 15th of last year against New Orleans when then Brooklyn net Bruce Brown did a similar thing, but into Kevin Durant's left leg. That one looked a lot more serious at the time. Kevin Durant ended up missing 21 games after that injury. This one, the fact that he stayed in the game for 2 possessions and he was at least moving a little bit, maybe you're going to be somewhat optimistic. The fact that the Nets came back and won this game after being down by 9, maybe there's some good karma. Good things seem to be happening to the Brooklyn Nets. So I think for them, Sean Marks and also Jock Vaughn and the entire net team and organization just crossing their fingers, because usually you know how the protocol is, Bob. Here get checked out by a doctor? Do you get a X-ray? Do you get an MRI? Hopefully it's nothing serious. For Kevin Durant, who's been having a brilliant season and had only missed that one game, and that was the Indiana game.
Right.
That was the only game he had missed this year.
Well, you take a look at the scans, but you also just wait till the morning, kind of wake up,
right,
see how it feels. So they're going to keep their fingers crossed on Kevin Durant. We will hear from Jacques Vaughn coming up, maybe get a little more insight into what KD's going through with that right knee. Now let's get to the entire fourth quarter, because again, the Nets were leading it by just 2 at the break. And as we go to the fourth quarter, we found them down by 4, and turnovers became a problem, and Tyler Herro converted that one.
Yeah, you know, the Nets had 9 turnovers in the third quarter. They enter the fourth quarter down 82-79, and Kevin Durant is in the locker room. Next thing you know, they find themselves down 90-81, but Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, Nick Claxton slowly but surely started to get them back into this game.
Miami tried to keep him at arm's length. Max Strus to Haywood Highsmith. That's a 3 to put the Heat up 93-87. But the Nets get on a little bit of a roll with Ben Simmons feeding Seth Curry.
Yeah, Seth Curry, great job here. They're overplaying Kyrie Irving, so the lane is open. And after that Highsmith 3, Miami only scores 4 points over the last 4 minutes of the game.
This is the guy you worry about. Tyler Herro will pull the trigger from anywhere. He does. Puts the Heat up 97-94. Moments later, another connection between Kyrie and Claxton.
What a play this was by Kyrie. The possession earlier, Kyrie had missed the shot. Here he is aggressive going to the basket. That's a brilliant lob pass by him to Nick Claxton.
Now, Kyrie, a good shooting night, but also remembering KD not in this game in the fourth quarter. Hits a tough little fadeaway there. Nets have the 1-point lead. Then under 3 minutes left, Curry again with the ball.
Yeah, this was good by Seth Curry. So much of his game, not just spot-up stationary threes. Here he puts the ball on the floor, foul line jumper, makes it 100-97.
Time winding down. Orlando Robinson gets the ball to Jimmy Butler. Butler with the slam, Heat down by just 1, and then moments later they're going to take the lead on a big slam by Butler.
And this is the play that I'm talking about, where Kyrie misses the 3. Look at Royce O'Neal. Looks like there's some contact there, falls down. Kyrie then gambles, goes for the steal, misses the ball. Jimmy Butler gets the dunk, and now Miami has a lead with 72 seconds to go.
Okay, coming up next, it's Kyrie Irving at a 101-100 game, about a minute on the clock, and there's a turnover.
Yeah, you know, that play right there, that was out of a timeout. You have 3 Nets standing in the corner in front of Miami's bench. There were too many defenders there.
And once again, another turnover coming up. Yuta Watanabe just off the mark to Kyrie.
And remember, on those 2 possessions, Jimmy Butler is the one defending Kyrie Irving. He's a very aggressive defender, physical defender, and I think this is why Kyrie here decides to pull up from so far out with so much time left on the clock. But guess what? It ends up working out for the Brooklyn Nets. You get a scramble situation, Royce O'Neal in position to pick up the rebound, and he has a little putback to give the Nets the lead for good.
And then finally, opposite end, top of your screen, you see Herro go down, and Butler, there you go, a lot of contact, no call.
It really was, but again, this game, and I think when you do play Miami, the games tend to be physical. It was an incredibly physical game. Just go ask Kevin Durant right now, standing in the net locker room, how physical the darn game was. So the Nets caught a bit of a break right there in that final seconds. But look at those numbers. That is a great, great road win without your best player over the last 13 minutes.
18-2 over the last 20. That is the best 20-game stretch in franchise history. What does this win mean in a different way than the way they got the last win, where they had to rally from behind, down by as many as 15 points? They were able to beat New Orleans. This one, they just kind of gutted it out in Miami.
There was something that Kevin Durant had brought up over the summer, the idea that the team was struggling without me. And I think you see a different spirit about this team, a different fight. Again, so first of all, you're dealing with watching Kevin Durant not only walk off the court, but head to the locker room. When that happens, who knows when he's going to come back and play. You don't know if he's going to come back in the fourth quarter or next week or whatever the case may be. You then fall behind by 9. At that moment, the weak-minded teams have every opportunity to just fold the 10 and say, you know what, it's not going to happen for us. What do you expect? Kevin Durant's not playing. We're down 9 points. Miami has the momentum. Instead, the Nets put up a fight, got back into the game, and it turned into a slugfest, much like the game was the other night in New Orleans. This is different, though. The quality of opponent and players that are out there, this is a team that went to the NBA Finals a few years ago. So all in all, for the Brooklyn Nets, for Kyrie Irving to be doing it when they're completely loading up on Kyrie and making it hard for it to happen for him. And you see Seth Curry making plays, Nick Claxton. If you're Jacques Vaughn, all the wins that you've had, now you're keeping your fingers crossed again about Kevin Durant, but this has to be the most satisfying win that you've had. To do it over the final period without Kevin Durant coming back from 9 points down against this Miami Heat team. Against
a good defensive team in Miami, and while you're having these mini implosions right at the end with the turnovers, and you're able to still come away with a win.
Bob, let's think about it. They won a game the other night where Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving had a horrible shooting night. You found a way to win. Tonight, in the second half, the Nets had 16 field goals and 13 turnovers. They turned the ball over 13 times, including twice right before Royce O'Neal had the putback to give them the win. So it wasn't perfect, but I think it just shows you the character of the team to constantly fight, to keep going at it, even when things look bleak, and it certainly looks bleak down 9. And Kevin Durant, you know, Megan Triplett had announced that he wasn't coming back. And to win that game, bravo to the Nets.
All right, 102-100, 101, the victory, rather. We're going to take a break. We got more coming up. We'll hear from Jacques Vaughn, hopefully with some insight on Kevin Durant and that injured right knee. More player reaction as well with Megan and the media. And we'll have highlights from around the NBA and look ahead to a big matchup coming up Thursday against Boston. Stick around. Good to have you back once again on the Nets post-game as they got out a 102-100 win in Miami. They lose Kevin Durant to a knee injury. Perhaps some insight on that as we hear from head coach Jacques Vaughn.
Okay.
Where to start? We'll start on that last possession.
Yeah.
The defense that it took. Have you watched the replay? What did you see that allowed you guys to be successful?
Yeah, we had a good group out there to defend. Their first possession, we kind of really read what they were trying to do, called timeout. They were able to draw up another play, pretty good play to get the ball in Jimmy Butler's hands. The biggest thing about that possession is Royce covers for his teammate. And so he comes over, Yuta doesn't foul, Kai doesn't foul, Royce is vertical at the rim, and we live with the results, which was in our favor tonight.
I wanted to ask you about Kevin Durant. Do you have any more updates besides with the right knee?
Yeah, you know, he didn't finish the game, and just right knee. He'll get evaluated tomorrow, and then hopefully I'll have some more info from you.
Will that evaluation include imaging?
Yeah, most likely, Brian, it will include imaging just to make sure we're good, yeah.
Did you get a chance to talk to him?
Just pretty much he dapped up everybody coming to the locker room. I just said I wish we would have got the rebound on that play, and I said heck of a win with the group, and that was about it. I did not inquire about the knee or anything. Don't want to speculate. I'm gonna knock on some wood and see what happens tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, you never want to see him go down like that, and any player for that matter. And so, pretty hard collision, but you know, you got to give our group credit for staying with it. I think we were down, I don't know, 8 or 9 to finish the game and to stay together. Pretty impressive.
What do you think that, with KD going down like that, and you guys being down 9 against a good team, what do you think that says about this team, that you guys had the resiliency to, stick through something like that, maybe as compared to years past?
Yeah, it was great too. And then you talk about the guys who contributed through that stretch. Whether it was Seth, who made some big shots for us, whether it's Yuta being on the floor. We kind of talked about that before the game today. Is a lot of guys have been put in different positions to, help the team. And another opportunity, and job well done for all those guys really who finished and sustained through that stretch. Showed a lot of resilience and a lot of resolve to stay together.
You mentioned earlier about Royce always covering, and then you have that shot. We've seen it before where he just is the right spot. You talked about the rebounding, but what did you see on that play, and what can you just say about Royce and his rebounding ability?
Yeah, and I told him I thought that he had the offensive rebound previously. Before that, too, there was a little collision. I thought he was on the inside. So he was at the right place on that possession, and then you just count on him to do the right thing and be in the right place. And I think he's just garnered the trust of his teammates and the confidence of his teammates. And a lot of big possessions, man. That's a physical team, top 10 defensive team, and we held them to 37 points in the second half, so that shows a lot.
A couple. I mean, did you think at all that when Kyrie comes down the floor and takes that shot with whatever it was 8 seconds left? I mean, did you have any thought about calling timeout to draw something up, or just let him play?
No, we just had one left right then, so I definitely wanted to put it in his hands and just let him play. He was kind of thinking along what I was thinking. Didn't want another double team, which what they were doing at the end of the game, and then I figured he could get a shot off, and so definitely wanted the basketball in his hand and not call a timeout.
And then you've been cautious about TJ's minutes and having him healthy for the playoffs and everything. I mean, did you, when Kevin went out, given the way he was scoring early on, did you thought about putting him in more just for more offense out there, or kind of riding the hot hand like you've talked about?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a combination of what group was going to be out there to help us at that time. So they were really being aggressive with Kai, so we needed another ball handler in the game. That's how Seth came into play. Then for the ability, because they were trapping, we put Utah in the corner that hopefully he'd get an open three and stretch the floor for us. He was pretty solid defensively, and so that was kind of the rationale by finishing with that group.
Coach, I read that you're a big poet. Do you have any favorite poetry, and have you ever used poetry to, build team camaraderie?
More so for myself. They probably think I'm not hip enough if I break out some poetry. So that's something that, for me, that's been good for me. Love reading. Love just getting better. Thanks, guys.
A little later on the postgame, Frank will share 3 hours worth of his favorite poetry.
Roses are red, violets are blue. The Nets won. I'll finish the rest later.
And how'd they do? That's all I got. They did well, 102-100. Yeah. Again, hard-fought victory. Jacques Vaughn seemed a little optimistic about KD in that knee.
Yeah, and he said, I didn't really ask about it. I find that hard to believe that the head coach of the team, when he sees Kevin Durant. Now, a couple of optimistic signs. Kevin Durant's waiting for the team. He's happy when they all walk into the locker room after the game. We're obviously just speculating now. Hopefully, the doctors that'll check him out, maybe they know that it's nothing that serious. Going to get an MRI tomorrow. Right now, that's what's talked about. So there's reasons to be hopefully optimistic. And he did bring up the play that we're talking about, Royce O'Neal. He talked about Royce O'Neal help defending on that the last play by Jimmy Butler, but there were a couple of possessions before that where Jacques Vaughn felt that Royce O'Neal might have been pushed in the back. That was the play that led to the long outlet pass, Jimmy Butler dunk, which gave them the lead. And then on the final, the game-winning basket for the Brooklyn Nets, he talked about Kyrie Irving not wanting to be double-teamed. And I think, again, that's what I thought at the time. For me, it's not the best shot, but I think Kyrie Irving's thinking, this might be the best look I get. I'm out here. I'm the guy that has to do it. He takes the long three, misses, but give the Brooklyn Net players a lot of credit. Yuta Watanabe was in position, but it was Royce O'Neal who picks up the ball and gets it. And as for that final play, Bob, Eric Spoelstra told the Miami media, talking about the contact between Royce O'Neal and Jimmy Butler, he said, I think that earned the right to go to the free throw line. So I think he's saying that contact earned the right for Jimmy Butler to go there. You knew the Heat would be upset about that.
You've covered the league for so long. Would you rather see what we saw in those last three sequences with the non-whistles? Would you rather see that happen at the end of a game, or do you think there should be the whistle?
I also think it's the rhythm of the game, and I think the last 2-minute report will come out from the NBA, and it'll say that Royce O'Neal should have been called for a foul there. But I think when you look at just the style of the game, it was very physical, really start to finish, but especially in that third quarter when all the Nets were doing was turning the ball over. We saw the play with Kevin Durant and Kyle Lowry, a lot of charges taken in this game. So I think because of that, I think the refs looked at it as we're just going to let them decide it on the court. It wasn't something where Royce O'Neal, came down on Jimmy Butler's hand or arm, which prevented him from shooting. So I think that's one of the reasons it was let go in that moment.
All right. So let's take a look one more time at that last play and what you're talking about here with Jimmy Butler drawing the contact.
Yeah, so Royce O'Neal doing a good job. At that point, when he sees Jimmy Butler going, he knows that Max Strus in the corner right at that point really isn't a threat. Jimmy Butler's not going to be able to make a cross-court pass. Strus can catch it, settle himself, spot up, and shoot. Not going to be enough time. So Royce O'Neal, his timing was really good. And again, very physical at the basket. If you're sitting here now, if the referees had called a foul, we'd be sitting here saying it's a tough one, but it looked like he did get hit. You would understand why they did call it, but I got to be fair. I understand why they didn't call it.
Butler seemed like he was okay with it. He just walked off. He wasn't griping at anybody.
Well, guess what? You're not going to find many physical players, or I should say more physical players than Jimmy Butler, who those last three possessions was incredibly physical with Kyrie Irving. Jimmy Butler, the greatness about him is he can go after Kevin Durant, and they did a great job on Kevin Durant in the third quarter, mixing things up. They would double him, from the weak side, and Kevin Durant, you can tell, was getting really frustrated. Then when Kevin Durant went out, that's why I thought Jacques Vaughn made some terrific adjustments. He wanted three-point shooters out there because he knew the double team was going to come, and that Kyrie Irving, maybe he obviously doesn't have the size of Kevin Durant, but he's got the vision to make those passes, and Seth Curry bailed him out on a couple of huge possessions late in this game.
Interesting you pointed out Butler on KD because they made it tough for him to shoot all night, and Kyrie knew that he was, like you said, he was going to feel that heat next with KD out of the game.
And the Nets really struggled in that third quarter. And that, the score at halftime, we're thinking, who's going to be the team that's finally going to defend? Well, guess what? In the third quarter, it really was both teams, and it made the game, for me, a lot more interesting because then it really became a chess match between, the two coaches, but also the players on the court to kind of adjust. The first half, it was just up and down. Guys were making shots. The second half, the game became very physical. It became tough to score, and I think the mentally tough teams, and Miami's mentally tough, and at times you want to see the Nets get tested, and they've been tested a lot on the road, and then everyone will say, well, look at this team they beat. Look at that team they beat. Don't say that tonight. They're down 9 points to Miami with Kevin Durant unavailable, and they found a way to win this game.
Let's take a look at our key to the game. Our final stats, 102-100. Nets shoot 10% better from the field. They shoot 51% from the field than the Miami Heat. A lot of turnovers for the Nets, a lot of those coming in that second half. And so the Nets, when they shoot better than 50%, 19-4, but they had to overcome a lot of mistakes there in terms of turning the ball over.
And remember, the third quarter, they only scored 13 points. It was a real struggle. So you're Jock Vaughn. I've only scored 13 points in the third quarter, and I know I'm not going to have Kevin Durant available for the fourth. So, again, it looked pretty dire. And when they were down 9, you're thinking, how are the Nets going to win this game? But they found a way, and I think for them, just staying in it and just competing every single possession. Maybe a year ago, remember when Kevin Durant went out, they were 5-16 in those games. I think it was an 11-game losing streak at one point. The fight just really wasn't there. And, of course, Kyrie Irving wasn't available for a bunch of those games. It's just a different attitude that they have, a different mindset, a lot more fight, a lot more spirit to the group, I think.
We got to take a break. We got more coming up here on the post-game game highlights for you as it went down to the wire in Miami, and the Nets pulling out a 102-100 win. Huge bucket by Royce O'Neal there to help them win it.
The Nets post-game show on Yes is brought to you in part by the New York Lottery. Get out there and play.
Let's dig into the game highlights. And early in the first quarter, how about Kevin Durant climbing up the all-time scorers list, passing Dominique Wilkins with that bucket for 14th on the all-time scoring list. So just get that out of the way and keep moving, right?
Next on the list, the Big O. Hopefully that happens sooner rather than later for Kevin Durant.
Tyler Hero to Haywood Highsmith. It's a great name. Haywood Highsmith of the Hamptons Highsmiths.
He meant for that to happen. By the way, he was a Division II player. Haywood Highsmith. Pretty cool. So they have a former Division III player on their roster and a former Division II player.
Big-time bucket by T.J. Warren there, but this was that sequence you were talking about. Crazy to end the first quarter.
11 points scored in the final 24 seconds of the first quarter. It was pretty nutty.
That was fun to watch. 2 big-time threes. Let's go to the second quarter. Nets up by 2. Kyrie with the ball, draining the 3. Remember what a good fourth quarter he had coming off that game against New Orleans 2 nights ago. He kept it going first half.
Kyrie Irving, 24 points in that first half on 8 of 12 shooting. Everything was going free and easy for Kyrie.
Bam Adebayo, you talked about points in the paint. He got some there, missed the free throw, but the Heat within 2.
Yeah, give Joe Harris a lot of credit for putting his body on the line there. It didn't work out for him.
Good ball movement by Miami. Jimmy Butler drives to the net. Again, strong move to the hoop. Heat taking a 59-56 lead at that point. But Brooklyn in the midst of scoring 35 in the second quarter, and here comes 3 more from Kyrie.
Here's Kyrie with Victor Oladipo on him, crossover dribble. Deep 3 there. Brooklyn Nets score 66 points in the first half. They shoot 59%, but they only have a 2-point lead.
All right, so they scored 35 in the second. As you pointed out, in the third, they scored just 13.
Yeah, Miami just did a much better job making things difficult for Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Much more aggressive.
Jimmy Butler knocks down the 3. Heat down by 3, so both these teams staying right in it. Later in the quarter, Durant will miss the jumper. Simmons gets the rebound, kicks it back out to KD, who wants it again and nails it.
When Kevin Durant missed that first one, he got another chance. You could tell that he was going to walk right into it and drain that one.
Now the knee for KD. Butler driving, goes into Durant, who falls down awkwardly, and he'd stay in the game, but that was the one that kind of cost him.
And he had taken a knock earlier, maybe about 5 minutes earlier with Kyle Lowry. This is his right knee. Last year, the knee that knocked him out for the 21 games was his left knee.
Well, under a minute to go in the third, Oladipo to Hero. Always in danger from outside. He had a wide open look. That gave the Heat a 1-point lead, and Durant said enough. He had to tap out there, and he would not come back. Taking on to the fourth quarter. where Max Strus feeds it to Highsmith, and Highsmith once again is going to sink the three.
And remember, they had a 9-point lead. They led 90-81. Miami did at one point in the fourth quarter before the Nets started making their comeback.
Irving, that's a tough shot. Got a little fadeaway to go, put the Nets up by one. Now again, seconds left, and here's that long shot by Irving to keep Butler off of him.
A long three, but look, Ben Simmons is there, Yuta Watanabe, but who comes up with the rebound? Royce O'Neal. 3 players on the Nets, actually 4 when you include Nick Claxton, all attacking the glass in a desperate move, and the ball ends up in black, and it's Royce O'Neal who makes the shot.
You wondered if there was any plan to get that ball to Hero when he fell down.
I think that was the play.
Yeah.
That 100%. I think that was the first option on that play. Because Tyler Hero has enough time there on the catch to maybe put the ball on the floor, catch and shoot. I think you're 100% right. Tyler Hero's slip. We haven't heard any updates yet out of Miami what the injury might be to Tyler Hero. Again, we hope it's not serious for him. The same thing with Kevin Durant.
The game summary brought to you by Infinity, where Brooklyn wins at 102-100. They've won 18 of 20. We pointed that out. That's the best 20-game stretch in their history. 102-101 at the final. Kyrie has 29. Jimmy Butler leads Miami with 26. We will take another break. When we come back, we'll hear once again from Royce O'Neal as he meets with Megan and the media. Big game for O'Neal. Big final bucket for him to help Brooklyn win it. We're back on the postgame talking about a Nets 102-101 win over Miami. Leading scorer for the Heat, Jimmy Butler with 26. Kyrie throws in 29. Durant left at the end of the third quarter. He had 17. And Seth Curry knocks down 14, including 9 in that fourth quarter. Here he is with Megan Triplett.
Seth, Jock just told us about in that fourth quarter how you guys were able to kind of cover. When you see KD go down, what was just the message overall as a team and how you guys were able to rally?
For me, I knew we still had a chance. A lot of time left in the game. We got a deep team with a lot of playmakers, but obviously with K go down, it's more opportunity for some other guys to make some plays, and it's about going out there being aggressive. They're sending a double at Kyrie all game, all second half really. So just when they came out of the trap, just trying to make a play.
And a lot of the conversation going into this was about Miami's defense. And the offense was still able to shoot over 50%. How are you guys able to adapt and navigate that top defense?
Just sticking to it. I mean, every time they kind of stalled us a little bit and going to that zone second half. But just sticking to it, relying on our defense to get stops and then trying to push the pace a little bit and get easier shots. And like I said, we got a lot of talent on this team. So just sticking to it, like keeping confidence even when we miss some shots and playing a 48-minute basketball game.
And Jock praised Royce O'Neal for 2 big plays with the putback and then the defensive stop on the last play. What is it like just to have Royce as a teammate and what you've kind of seen from him this season?
He's just locked into doing his job. It's not always spectacular or highlight plays, but he's locked into doing his job every night, covering for people defensively, working hard. And then offensively, whether it's trying to knock down an open shot, crashing the boards, whatever the game calls for that night, he's willing to do it. And he's been big for us all year.
In sports, we talk a lot about that next man up mentality. He knows KD's out. He knows they're doubling Kyrie. He knows he's going to be one of the big options, and he came through.
And a lot of times, too, when he's getting the ball out of the double team, the defense is scrambling. They're sprinting at him, and that's why he was smart by putting the ball on the court. Here you see him getting into the paint, driving to the basket, and the pull. That's a tough shot. And he got fouled there, and he completed the three-point play. But that's the one thing about Seth Curry, not just a one-dimensional player. Again, Tyler Hero runs at him. Seth Curry puts the ball on the floor, gets an uncontested layup at the basket, again drives, and this is the foul line jumper that he hit the little fadeaway.
All right, so Seth Curry getting the job done, as did Royce O'Neal. You heard Megan talk to him about Royce and what he's been able to accomplish. And this is not the first time, as we showed during the game, that he has had a nice putback like that to help him win. Take you back to November 17th against Portland, and big time after KD misses.
And also somewhat similar. Now, Kevin Durant's shot inside the three-point line, but all the Nets on the court are crashing the boards. And guess who's in the game? Not only Royce O'Neal, but also Yuta Watanabe. 2 guys that were in the game late tonight as well. Number one, you have the head coach trust them, but you also, he knows that you're getting 2 aggressive players that are very active and get their hands on loose balls. And right here, Yuta Watanabe fights for it, and who picks up The loose change, Royce O'Neal. Nice little putback, which isn't the easiest shot under the circumstances. You have to have it. You're being quick, number one, but you also have to have a nice touch with the distance you are from the basket.
Yeah, and he was cradling the ball as he grabbed it on the outside part of the play, outside away from the basket, had to bring it back in and score. So O'Neal with that big-time bucket for the Nets. Their best record through 40 games. They're at 27-13. That is second only to the 2002-2003 team. Let's hear more from Royce O'Neal.
Can you walk us through the last 15 seconds or so when you get the I don't remember who got the rebound. Kyrie brings it up, takes the pull-up shot, and then you eventually wind up with the ball in your hands?
Yeah, I think Nick got the rebound. I mean, it was a big-time play. We knew Kai, was going to take the shot. We trust him with that. And then, that's a great opportunity to crash the glass, especially at that time. And then Yuta did a great job, keeping the ball alive, and I was there, right place, right time. And then got the basket.
And you guys know about 7 or so when Kevin went out. You guys were able to stay afloat and get back in. What led to that?
I think just us keeping our composure. I mean, that hurt to see. I mean, hopefully he's good after tonight. But just us, being a team, staying together. The win meant even more. Especially a guy like that goes down, and we all competed hard and fought to the end.
Get a chance to talk to him?
No, not yet.
Thank you.
If he has to miss a stretch here.
I mean, I think just us, sticking to the game plan, adjusting. I mean, we're going to keep playing, the basketball that we are, especially on the defensive end. I mean, it's going to take all of us. That's what we're doing the whole year. So, I mean, yeah.
Royce, what has Coach Vaughn done in the locker room that you haven't experienced with another coach, or what has he done to build that team bonding or camaraderie?
I mean, I think just holding everybody accountable. I mean, everybody's playing hard. I mean, we know, our roles, and we executing, sticking to the game plan, and he's trusting us, and we're trusting him. I mean, I think it goes both in with the communication. So I mean, he's doing a great job being the leader, and it's us taking the floor initiative out there and keep playing.
You saw this team
when Kevin was out last year in Utah. I mean, it handled them pretty easily. I mean, can you just talk about, I guess, where the mentality of this team is now compared to that team you saw from the outside, just in terms of being able to dig in defensively, get stops, next man up type of mentality versus that one that you saw when you were playing against them in Utah?
Which team?
This Nets team, when Kevin was out last year, in essence imploded. Part of that implosion is I think you guys beat him by close to 30, right? And I'm saying just compare the mentality and will of this team that you're on now to that team that you saw that you handled so easily when Kevin went out.
I mean, it's a completely different team. I mean, just everybody playing together on both ends, so.
Let's step aside for another timeout of the postgame. Coming up, we'll check out some out-of-town highlights, including the Grizzlies hosting the Jazz, plus how the Mavs did with Luka Doncic on the shelf. Stay with us.
Yeah, hey, yeah. They gon' have to build statues in honor.
Kevin Durant takeover.
Promise.
The Nets are off until Thursday when they host the Celtics. That game is on TNT, so we're back with you a week from tonight when Brooklyn hosts the Oklahoma City Thunder at Barclays Center. Our coverage starts with the FanDuel pregame show at 5:30, live on Yes and streaming on the Yes app. And again, the Nets winning it 102-101. Let's catch up postgame. Megan Triplett talking to Joe Harris.
Joe, describe to me what it took overall, especially in that second half, for you guys to pull out the one down the stretch.
I think just, collectively, the resolve, we got down, I think it was 90-81 there for a bit. They had a lot of momentum, but we just kept chipping away at it. And then, it's sort of been, a consistent theme with us. When we're able to get stops, we can really score with pretty much anybody. But when the defense is sound and we get stops, this is nights like tonight happen.
Overall, what was the message of the group when you see KD go out and you guys having to kind of other guys step up and play?
Yeah, well, I mean, first and foremost, you just hope that everything is all right with them. I think that was like kind of a collective thing with everybody, just making sure that, he's feeling okay. But then the second thing is like, you got to be a professional. Everybody's got to step up, and that's exactly what happened.
Did you get a chance to talk to him afterwards?
Yeah, briefly. But, I mean, as much as, I would say I'm a doctor and I could give you a thorough analysis on what happened, it probably wouldn't be too much help asking me, yeah.
Obviously, everything would change if you had to miss any stretch of time. What do you think changes the most if you guys have to play without him for a couple of weeks?
I mean, obviously a lot. He is focal point for us offensively, but even defensively. He's been an elite rim protector this year. He guards the best players. It'd be obviously a massive blow for us, but at the same time, it presents opportunities for everybody else, and we have a lot of depth for reasons like this, for everybody just to step up and, collectively try and fill that void.
You talked about everybody, even if he is out, everybody has to do their job and everybody has to be professional.
Yeah.
Do you think this team is in a better place now than it was last year when he went out, you guys ended up losing like 11 straight different span, 5 and 16. Are they in a better place either roster-wise or mentally?
I mean, I think it's hard to, foreshadow exactly what's going to happen. We don't even know the severity of the injury, if he's going to be out, all that. So it's like a lot of hypotheticals, I guess. But what we do know is that we do have a lot of depth. So it's a positive for us.
And what was your reaction to seeing Royce do another putback, basically a game-winning shot, and then have that big defensive stop on the other end?
Yeah, I mean, he just makes all of the hustle plays. He does it night in, night out. And, for him to get his second one, in the halfway point of the season is pretty incredible.
We're going to take another break. When we come back, Frank and I will put a bow tie on the Nets win in Miami and look ahead to Thursday's game in Boston. Stick around. Checking out the 2-week schedule, the Nets are off until Thursday when they host the Celtics in a matchup of the top 2 teams in the East. That game is exclusively on TNT. We're back with you a week from tonight for a game against the Thunder, and then the Nets head out to start a stretch of 4 straight road games against Western Conference opponents. More post-game reaction now after the Nets win it 102-100 or 102-101 over the Heat. Here's Kyrie Irving.
Seconds, Nick gets the rebound, you bring it up, pull up from 3, and so on.
Yeah, I was grateful that Royce got the rebound because that shot could have definitely gone either which way. I was trying to go for the kill shot, put us up 2, give us a chance to come back in the huddle, and then they, have the pressure on them. But the ball bounced to Royce, thank God, and we got this win, and we get to come out of here and talk about how great of a game we did play. But I think even with that being said, there's some things that we can improve on.
Did you get a chance to talk to Did you get a chance to talk to Kevin afterwards?
Yeah, he's in good spirits, as we all are. The strength of our team is us picking each other up and just being ready for whatever's thrown at us.
We're down as many as 9 in the fourth quarter without Kevin, and we were able to rally back. I mean, just what kept you guys composed during that stretch?
Just staying poised. As you saw, there were a few turnovers down the stretch or shots that could have gone either way. But in an NBA basketball game at the highest level, you got to be able to stay poised. And I felt like we did a great job of that. And just taking our time possession by possession, knowing that, mistakes inevitably are going to happen and shots are going to be missed. And we just got to make them miss.
Last year, but if Kevin has to miss any kind of stretch at all, what changes the most without him on the floor?
I just think obviously our strategy is pretty clear that me and Kay are leading predominantly most of the offense, and we have incredible shooters, incredible talented basketball players around us, and now I think it shapes into all-around offense and guys being ready to play and make an impact out there. So I think one of the greatest qualities of our team is our bench and the way we support each other, despite who's in the lineup. And now it's just time to go out and exemplify that until we figure out the timeline of K and when he could be available again. So just got to be mature about it.
How scary is it just to see, a teammate and a friend go down like that?
It doesn't feel good emotionally, to be honest with you. It was definitely going to be easy for me to kind of let my emotions show, but just had a choice to make and things like that. So with K, we know what we're up against. With him not being in the lineup, we could say it every single day, but we don't have time for any excuses. We just got to keep moving forward and stay mature about it, like I said. Yeah, I was right there. Those plays are scary because when someone's not looking, what's going on, and anything could happen in those moments. So I'm grateful that all that time that he's put in the weight room, putting his body in a great position, his body was able to save him from something worse. So that's why I stepped on the court right as soon as it happened. It's just natural reaction, natural human reaction.
You've obviously seen a lot of things throughout your career, and your coach mentioned post-game that it kind of affected the way that you wanted to get the shot off because you wanted to kind of get it off before the double team came. The Heat obviously threw those. They hedged and recovered. They switched. And you obviously still had a great game, but just wanted to get your thoughts on the way that they defended you and how you guys responded.
Yeah, it's Miami Heat basketball. When you come into this arena, you know what to expect from Spo. Guys are going to play extremely hard. They're going to double you. They're going to hit you. And that's what you want as a competitor, to be honest with you, is to be tested at the highest level. And we got a chance to see them at this point in the season again and come out victorious. We see them. I'm not sure how many times we see them again, but I know that it'll be a different strategy game, and we'll go back at it. So I just got to be ready to adapt to anything, any situation that's going on. Miami throws everything at you, zone, man, double team. So it only makes me better.
Well, they're going to rely on KD heavily on Thursday night. That is the Nets' next game at Barclays Center. It is a showdown of titans in the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics at 28-12. The Nets a game behind at 27-13, and again, they have won 18 of their last 20. What are you expecting in that game?
Well, obviously a lot's going to come down to what the availability for Kevin Durant will be. Kyrie Irving said he's in good spirits, and Kyrie also added, we'll figure out what the timetable is going to be, or the timeline for Kevin Durant. That doesn't mean that he's not going to play Thursday. Right. Hopefully that means that he's going to play sooner rather than later. A couple of injury things. Tyler Hero claimed that he wasn't hurt, that he's fine. Bam Adebayo did not play the final 5-11 tonight because of a hand injury that he had. He also was a -25 in the game. And, of course, the situation with Kevin Durant, which nobody knows right now. So, Bob, the next 24 to 36 hours, I'm sure the Brooklyn Nets just crossing their fingers, hoping that it's not anything serious. Something would tell me if it was a very serious injury, I don't think Kyrie Irving is talking like that after the game. He sounds somewhat upbeat that it's not going to be anything that's going to be devastating to Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets season. Of course, we're just trying to read the tea leaves here, but that's kind of the indication that I get.
Plus, KD also gets 4 days to kind of rest and rehab. One other minor injury note, Kyrie's sunglasses there, because once his young child, what is it with young kids? The first thing they do is always put the fingerprints all over the glasses.
Because the child is saying, Dad, they want to see your eyes. They want to see if you're really telling the truth when we ask you about Kevin Durant, if he's in good spirits. That was pretty cute. Kyrie Irving seemed like he was upbeat. That's a great photo.
As adults, we all hate to get fingerprints on the sunglasses. Kids just love it. It's the first thing they go for.
She's saying, why are you wearing the sunglasses inside? Right? Wait till you get outside.
She went after the mic, too. Why are you holding the mic?
That's right.
All right. That's going to do it for us. Again, don't forget Thursday night, TNT. You'll want to see that game against the Celtics, see if Kevin Durant is playing. And then Frank and I will see you again next Sunday starting at 5:30 with the FanDuel pregame when they take on the Thunder. Thanks for joining us all night. Look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Take care.